This is Mark Dell from Android Spin, and this review is for Captain America by Marvel Entertainment. Strap on a shiny shield and prepare for some non-stop running, platforming, more running, and fighting with Captain America's first Android game. There's a handful of different takes on platform and game controls for mobile devices, but a totally gesture-based system is a new one for me. The controls in Captain America are mostly very intuitive. A swipe up to jump, down to slide, and left to right to change direction. These controls take a little while to get used to, and you'll find yourself mistiming a few jumps earlier on just because you're not swiping quickly or long enough. Earlier levels have a lot of hand-holding to get used to the control scheme, and give the mighty Captain America the daunting task of jumping over a series of knee-high logs, as your moves and combos are ever slowly dished out to you across the levels. When you get near an enemy, a combo is triggered depending on how you approach them, and you're given a series of swiping gestures to perform. The combat, while fine at first, becomes quickly monotonous as the fluid platforming sections become interrupted by the same handful of combos on the same handful of enemies. Fortunately, combat can be avoided in a few ways without any consequence. The speed and motion makes the platforming sections a lot more fun once they become more advanced, but you never reach any real degree of difficulty, which steals away any great feeling of accomplishment once an area has been beaten. Even if they're unchallenging, the areas are still interesting, and you'll be taking different paths through them and smashing through walls, swinging off poles, and jumping to try and find the 5 hidden items that are poorly hidden on each level. After a single playthrough, I'd uncovered just about all the hidden items, which unlocked a small collection of costumes and several tiny images of covers of Captain America comics. The graphics in Captain America look like they've been lifted out of a Gameloft game, which isn't a bad thing. Things look technically impressive and everything moves nicely, but it's rather bland. There's a lot of running around grey warehouses, and you'll be hard-pressed to tell the difference from one level to another. I also experienced several times when the game would move from its usual high-speed pace to a jolty crawl that made it nearly impossible to play. Usually these issues are resolved by disabling the background data, but not here. As with many of these types of performance issues with Android, your mileage may vary. For a game using a comic book license, it would have been nice to see a lot more comic-style cutscenes in the story rather than a good intro movie and then just a lot of unspoken dialogue between the levels to create an uninteresting story. There is some spoken dialogue from Mr. America during the levels, but after some of the dialogues repeated the same time thrice over during a level, you'll be wishing you could switch off the spoken track. Much like a comic book movie, Captain America is a thrill ride with some great pieces of action and some moments that you'd probably rather forget.